And now for something completely machinima.
Tracy Harwood. So I've done a little bit of digging around and I've discovered.
Ricky Grove. Fog comes in on little cat feet.
Phil Rice. This is the best film that I've seen all year and maybe ever.
Damien Valentine. Use the machinima, Luke.
Hello and welcome to are we good? We got the grid?
Yep.
Okay. Hello and welcome to And Now for Something Completely Machinima, the podcast about machinima, virtual production, and related technologies. I'm here, Phil Rice, and why do I always mess that up? I'm Phil Rice. Hi. And I'm here with my co-hosts, Damien Valentine and Tracy Harwood.
Hello.
Hello.
Ricky is not here this week. He accidentally joined a cult thinking it was a Pilates class. But we hope he'll return to us next week. All right, so this week we've got another film pick, and this one is Damien's, and it's a little bit of Starfield, which I'm excited about. So, Damien, tell us about it.
Right, so last month I looked at a Skyrim machinima. I thought, well, what people are doing with Starfield? Because obviously that game's been out for nearly 2 years, and we were excited to see the machinima potential for it because it was this big open world sci-fi game. Now, the player reception to Starfield hasn't necessarily been quite as strong as Skyrim. But people are still enjoying the game. They're still having fun with it. And I came across this video. Well, actually, the creator has two videos, and I found the other one first, but I like this one better. But the other one was newer, which is why it came up on my feed. And it's kind of a fake trailer, and I say that because it's advertising something that doesn't actually exist. But it's like a mod or a DLC trailer, and it's kind of showing off the world and some of the things you could do. And it's like a slice of a character's life in space. And I thought that was very nicely done. Now, the other video is more of a action. There's kind of more action in it, but it's done in a way that doesn't. It's very static. Like there's lots of talk over it, but you'll get still shots, or you don't see many people running around or anything. It's all frozen, but the camera moves through like it's paused. I think that's the camera mod that we've discussed before, that like a universal camera mod. I forget the name of it, but it works in many different games. And like with photo mode, it's like a modified photo mode, something like that. So I think it's a side effect of this. But this one, things move, and so you feel like stuff's happening in it, even though it's a very brief um, video itself. And you get a little bit of it's called the Dark Side of Luna. And at the very end, there's a nice little touch of the Dark Side of the Moon by Pink Floyd appears in it. So it's like a trailer for an adventure or some kind of experience in the game, either a mod or DLC. But that mod or DLC doesn't actually exist. Like there's some mods used to make this, but that's not what it's advertising. And I just really liked it. And I thought it's nice to see something this good made with Starfield, even though it is very brief. I kind of wish it wasn't just a teaser trailer for something. I wish there was more to it. Like, so if you want to make a movie or something, do it like this and tell us a story. But it made me want that rather than, oh, I kind of wish there's not much to this. So, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, it made me want more of this rather than it's not enough.
Did you see he's got a website?
I did not.
He's got a website and he's promoting this as a trailer for something that he's going to, I think, sell on the website. So it kind of implies to me that actually it is a teaser for a product that is going to follow. I think. I mean, why else would you do a website?
Yeah, that makes a little more sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, so it probably really is a teaser trailer. teaser.
Okay, that's good because then I'm quite intrigued by this, so I'd like to see more of it.
Mm. Shall I go next? Because I've got a few thoughts. Um, I actually thought it was quite an interesting portrayal of Starfield, but the very first thing that caught my attention after I watched it is I really like the pacing of it, but there were a couple of comments that just sort of made me think, yeah, okay. It's one where somebody was saying, yeah, there's nothing to do in Starfield, and basically the comment was, yeah, it's because they kind of lack imagination. And then a comment in relation to that was um, along the lines of people who say there's nothing to do in Starfield are No Man's Sky fanboys who have 10,000 hours in the game of just walking around in barren planets, visiting the 8 points of interest they placed over them and doing math puzzles in response. I thought that was quite funny as an observation of what this is. And it kind of made me think what it actually was doing, really. Um, as a machinima, it's got quite a nice vibe, I thought. It's definitely representing the open world nature of it. A bit of a creator paradise is clearly what he's trying to portray here. Um, but evidently also it's a call out for a modding community, I would suggest, in order to sort of push it, you know, make it sort of more sticky with the creator community, I'd say, in order to extend whatever the storytelling is going to be. And it would seem that this creator is one of those that is probably in the process of creating a mod or an environment, part of the story that he's expecting others to sort of tap into at some point in order to tell their stories. That's the sense of what I got from it. And I guess we'll see how well he does at doing that in due course, whether he's successful in inspiring others. I would say it's almost certainly going to lead to a a few of the usual sort of stories of that we see of space operas and whatnot. The stories of isolation, social dramas, terror, a la Alien kind of thing. Um, what intrigued me about this one is that yes, it is certainly visual stunning, and the scenes are well selected. Even if what I think it actually shows is really just a tech demo or an environment demo. Made me think about the voices because a lot of it is driven. You don't see an awful lot. There's just voices that you hear, and the voices are done really well. There's a male voice that dominates it, I would suggest, and it's a kind of cross between a Carl Sagan and a James Earl Jones. And then there's a woman's voice, maybe one of the voice actors from the game, I don't know. And it made me think, well, maybe those voices have been created using something like 11 Labs. I'm not really sure because it doesn't really say that in any of the description, but I'd guess that would be how that's been done, rather than using actual voice actors to talk through what's going on. I quite liked that sort of aspect of it, literally teasing some intriguing stories of adventure over adversity kind of thing. But it made me think with such an iconic like voice, it made me wonder about how well these two voices fit together. And in the end, I kind of thought, I'm not really sure they do. I'm going to be intrigued to hear what you say on that in a minute. The male voice is so strong that the female voice is just really quite simpering and whiny, really. And I think it very much positions the female side of the tale as this kind of helpless character, as maybe somebody tripping from one near disaster to another. So it's really, setting it up to be kind of I don't know, a bit anti-female tropey. I don't know really. I just thought that was a bit odd. Um, I really liked the change of editing pace at the end. I thought that was really cool. The way that it was kind of a bit slow burn on the beginning and then the whole thing zoomed past in under zero point 0.5 of a second before it finished. I thought, you know, got that last little bit just made me sit up a bit. And I thought, yeah, if you'd have had a bit more pacing on the first part of it, maybe that would have worked a bit better as well. But I have to say, notwithstanding the comments that I've just made, I am actually looking forward to seeing what follows this from this creator because I don't know if you guys remember, but certainly I was really disappointed that the Barely Not Monkeys crew who used Star Citizen with their short, they never got to make a second episode. And if nothing
What was
else,
that one called again?
Starts
with an A. Is it Adrift or
Adrift?
Adrift.
Adrift. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if this is anywhere close to that, and certainly the female character's voice was a little bit like that, yeah, I'm up for that. I think that would be quite cool. What did you think?
All right. So the voice is almost certainly 11 Labs or one of its competitors, but they're good quality. So I think 11 Labs. I think the reason that I didn't quite read quite as much into the mismatch as you. I certainly don't think the filmmaker intended
No, probably not.
For that statement about about females in general, right? I don't think that was the intent at all. But I can see what you mean. I think the reason for that impression is because the male voice it has this very like cinematic narrator broadcast voice quality, like what you would see in a movie trailer, right? And hers is, first of all, it's just a normal voice, but then the EQ has been clipped a little bit on it to make it sound like it's, the astronaut transmission, and that tends to make a voice sound a little bit thinner as well. So that's the reason for the difference. It would have been interesting to have in the vein of Adrift, to have another character there. Now, maybe the whole point of this was that she's alone and has to solve this alone. But I think if to get that sense of equal footing or that type of thing, that would have been the way that could be handled. Is that and it also helps with drama too. That there's someone else, there's something at stake besides just her to her. That's just. Okay, for everybody, if they're on their own, survival is a stake, sure. But the idea that someone else's life is at stake is much heightened drama and more interesting, I think, naturally. Visually, it's beautiful, and it made me immediately think of Adrift. I haven't watched these side by side, but I dare say the fidelity of the image in this is even better than what they got out of Star Citizen at the time. I mean, it's really good. It's really beautiful. The shot selection is very nice. That edit, the fast edit there at the end, even though I can't make any narrative sense of it, and maybe I'm not meant to, maybe it's meant to be ambiguous, but it was effective. Like it was, oh, huh. So nicely done, and the sound, what they did with sound during that edit, it all just that was a pro move for sure. The writing's a bit weak, even just on a basic grammatical analysis, and I don't want to be a grammar nerd or anything, but humanity's path has not come a long way. Humanity has. The path doesn't come anywhere. And then you don't follow that up with much more than we thought. So again, I'm a nerd with that. So, but I say that partly in contrast to Adrift, that one of Adrift's strengths was the writing.
Yeah.
It was a very plausible and believable conversation. Maybe this was boy, this will really insult the filmmaker if it's not true, but maybe English isn't their first language.
Oh, yeah.
And so there was an attempt to translate, and little things like that can get missed by, especially by auto translation. It's not bad enough to be like that they just popped it in Google Translate or something, but it's just not quite there. So the ideas were generally conveyed well, but the thing is that it seems like every few months this idea of artful ambiguity comes up, right? And that it's kind of a fine line on how mysterious you can afford to be before it feels like maybe they just don't know how to communicate very well. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not making that statement about the piece, but I'm saying it really teeters on that line of was this deliberately ambiguous or just not well thought through? And I don't know. It's gorgeous. I'm not narratively, I'm not at all intrigued because I don't feel like that a hook really took, you know? Yeah, but I mean, I would love to see more stuff that looks like this, for sure. And it makes me, uh, you know, uh, Starfield is still on my Steam wish list. I keep waiting for something more than a $10 discount, and it's still a $70 game. That's a lot. That's a lot of cheese. So, but I do want to play with this game. I think it's gorgeous. I think some of the scenes down on some of the planets, like the cities and such, the architecture and everything in the skies, it's just gorgeous. And even the open areas of the planets. So it cracked me up that that there's not tons of comments on this yet, but it did crack me up that the comment section quickly and inevitably turned into a Starfield versus No Man's Sky
Yes.
pissing contest, right? Because that's been going on since the day Starfield was released.
Yeah.
It's like the thing most talked about on No Man's Sky or Starfield videos is how much better one is than the other. That cracked me up because I have no dog in that hunt at all. I don't care. I intend to own both games. I waited for the right sale on No Man's Sky, and I'll wait for it on this too. I don't really play the games avidly though, so I don't really have any. I don't have a highly informed opinion, and I don't really care enough to compare the two. I think that there's room enough in this world for two science fiction, large universe exploration games. Maybe even more, It's not just these two. So there's a number of these, So anyway, yeah, it's definitely an impressive reminder of the lighting. The lighting in particular really stands out. The way that her spacesuit has a lot of tech on it, so a lot of different surfaces made of different materials, and the way that the light reflects off it and stuff. It's gorgeous. In the same way that was the most impressive thing to me about the most recent GTA 6 trailer was the lighting off of surfaces. I kind of made a joking reaction to the character that we are jokingly surmising that Ricky might secretly be the voice for.
Yeah.
Well, one of the opening shots is this just magnificent shot of him with no shirt and the chest and just the light coming off it, and the skin just looks so real.
He's got too much baby oil on, I'd say.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, throughout it, even my son, who's the younger generation, and I think has a even keener eye for realism in games, said, "Man, most of this doesn't even look like a video game." And then at the end of the trailer, you see the little fine print that the whole thing was rendered on a PS5. So not even using the full-blown GTX, extra shaders, all that stuff that can make stuff just, I mean, you see, if you've ever seen any of the Cyberpunk videos or even GTA 5 with those latest shaders, it's stunning. Like, it's crazy how real it looks. So this isn't quite there, of course, but it's not meant to be. But the point is that it's just beautifully lit. Um, I love the shots. That moon is just magnificent.
Mm.
The texture on it is just so detailed. That one wide shot where the full moon is in view is just breathtaking.
Yeah.
So, um, yeah, I haven't dabbled with Starfield yet to know firsthand what the machinima possibilities are, but um, I'm optimistic when I see stuff like this. It's like, okay, so maybe mission accomplished in terms of the video, right? That if it's supposed to get people, he says in the description, doesn't he? This is a fan-made piece where you can envision potential stories with a cinematic flair and a lifelike appearance.
Yeah.
Sold. It worked. Like, I mean, I cannot like his particular story or not. Maybe it just didn't intrigue me very much personally. But in terms of what his objective was, his state objective, it worked because it's a good reminder. Yeah, I want to explore and see what can be done with this. So, yeah, I guess it's, to that degree, it's a success. But
Well,
I'm certainly glad you shared it with me.
I would recommend check out his other video, which is it's very similar to this,
Okay.
but it's based on Mars and some of like the criminal underworld that lives there.
Oh,
Um,
I wasn't aware that Musk had made it that far yet.
well, but yeah, check out his other video. I kind of like this one better, but the Mars one is good as well.
Okay.
That's kind of what makes me feel like it's not actually promoting a mod because the other one's called Starfield's Red Devil Revival, and there's only like a 4 month difference between the two. So if there was going to be a Lunar mod, he would have released it between that and this. But
Mm.
so I feel like like what Phil was saying, it's just a way to spark people's imagination and imagine what stories could be going on with what
Mm.
has been shown in this trailer.
Yeah.
He precedes both videos, Damien, with the Xbox logo. Are we to assume from that he has captured the footage for these on an Xbox?
I would imagine he's no, he's. I would imagine he's using a PC for it, but I think he's trying to make it look like an official
Oh,
trailer.
okay. Like I remember I slapped that kind of joke version of the Disney Plus logo on the end of my
Yeah,
Hair to the Empire. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay, so that kind of thing. Okay. Yeah.
because like it's got the logo on it, and the way the title comes up at the end, it feels like what you'd expect from an official
Yeah.
trailer.
Yeah, both of them are that way, and it does say Xbox XS and PC. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't notice the end one as much.
Mm.
Well, yeah, great pick. I hope you'll keep an eye on Starfield Machinima for us in the future, Damien, because I think
Yeah.
it's an untapped resource so far, largely,
yeah,
right? It's such a I mean, Bethesda doesn't really do anything small, do they? They may not do things perfect, but they go big. And this game is a big deal and has a lot of, if it's anything like the other Bethesda titles, like Fallout and Skyrim and stuff like that, they don't really make a big deal out of the fact that they are machinima friendly, not in the way that like Rockstar does with an actual editor in there and things like that. But these games are, because they're so moddable, they really do have lots of potential. So yeah, I hope we see it's conceivable that somebody could craft a Mass Effect type story, like a story you might want to tell in Mass Effect, but you can't do this kind of stuff in Mass Effect, It's not as moddable. So yeah, there's some, I don't know. I really think it's an untapped resource because there's a big appetite out there for indie sci-fi. There's a channel out there. I can't remember what the channel is called, Dust Films or something like that.
Oh,
I've seen
yes.
Where it's all
Dust.
sci-fi shorts.
Yeah.
And then there was that series of shorts that we reviewed, I don't know, a couple years ago, and we're puzzling over some of how it was made. It was this anthology series, that they just did these little sets of shorts. I can't remember what it was titled, but it was very, very impressive. And that they didn't use any of the tools we would have thought. Like we thought, sure, it must be Unreal Engine or something like that, and it wasn't. It was more traditional CGI tools, but it's very, I mean, independent budget, and it really blew up. So yeah, I think there's a good audience for this stuff.
Mm.
Well,
Great
hey,
pick. Great pick.
yeah, very
I'd
good.
like
Thank
to
you,
see
Damien.
someone do a big epic or a big adventure story in Starfield. I think there's potential for it. It's just down to someone figuring out how to use the mods and to make it.
And maybe there's someone out there right now working on that. You know, these things take time, and sometimes people work on this stuff and they're not obsessed with showing every little bit they do, you know, on social media as they go, and all of a sudden they show up one day with a magnum opus. So we can hope for that.
Yeah.
Even some nice shorts would be nice, honestly, you know. So yeah. Yeah, great pick, Damien. Thank you. Well, what did you, audience members, what did you think of this? Let us know in the comments on this video or wherever you're listening to this podcast, or you can email us at talk@completelymachinima.com. On behalf of my co-hosts, Tracy and Damien, my name's Phil, and we will see you all next time.